I remember the way the sun filtered through my kitchen window that morning, soft and warm, the kind of light that used to make my husband smile. Start from the beginning, I whispered to myself, just like the opening lines I had practiced so many times when life felt simpler. Little did I know that this would become the day everything I believed about my own family would begin to unravel. For most of my 72 years, I've believed that if you worked hard, stayed kind, and kept your promises, life would repay you with peace. But peace is fragile, and family can break it faster than anything else. That morning, I sat at my small wooden table, sipping coffee that had grown cold long before I noticed. My husband's passing had left a quiet in the house that never seemed to fade. I still caught myself reaching across the table for his hand, expecting the warmth that would never return. But that day, a letter from my bank waited beside my cuppa letter that didn't make sense. A notification, an alert. Something about my account activity being accessed from a different household. My household, only I lived here, and I certainly wasn't withdrawing anything. My heart sank in a way that felt older than my bones. I told myself to stay calm as I drove to the bank. The air outside was crisp, the kind that wakes you up whether you want it to or not. Inside the bank, everything smelled like paper and cold ink. A young employee led me to a small desk and tapped at his keyboard with the ease of someone who had never needed to double-check their own children's honesty. There have been multiple attempts to access your accounts, he explained gently, turning the monitor toward me. The screen glowed with a list times and dates I didn't recognize. Someone was trying to get into what little I had left. I folded my hands in my lap, squeezing them together. My son used to do that when he was nervous. I had taught him that little trick. The thought crossed my mind, uninvited. No, he would never do something like this, but the truth was already creeping in. I asked the bank for printed records and called my son as soon as I stepped outside. His voice was tight, rushed, more irritated than concerned. "Why are you bringing me into this? You're overreacting," he said. I knew that tone. Fathers and mothers across America know what it means when their grown children sound like that. Dismissive, impatient, tired of you. And when I arrived at his home later that afternoon, the tension wrapped around me before I even rang the bell. He opened the door with a stiff jaw, and behind him stood my daughter-in-law, arms crossed, her expression as cold as the granite countertop behind her. "What now, Mum?" he asked, as if I were a package that kept being delivered to the wrong house. I told him the bank had confirmed unauthorized access to my accounts. His eyes shifted, not confusion, not worry, but annoyance. "It wasn't me," he insisted. "Why would I even bother? You're making a big deal out of nothing." Then she stepped closer. My daughter-in-law polished, stylish, every strand of hair perfectly in place. Her voice was sugar-coated, the kind that leaves a bitter aftertaste. "Maybe you just forgot your own passwords," she said with a tiny smile. It was the smile that told me everything. I asked quietly, firmly for my spare house key back. For a moment, he hesitated, a long, heavy moment. Then he reached into a drawer and pulled out a key, dropping it into my palm without meeting my eyes. When I left their house, I closed the door gently, but the sound felt loud inside my chest. As I walked away, I didn't look back. The afternoon sun stretched my shadow long in front of me, like it was trying to lead me somewhere. That night, unease filled my living room like a second breath. The lamp cast a dim glow across the floor as I sat in my armchair, hands clasped together. Then, a memory. A simple line from my husband's handwriting flashed across my mind. Check the garage. Important. I hadn't thought of that old notebook in years. But suddenly, the words felt urgent. I found the notebook tucked inside a drawer. The handwriting was shaky but familiar, circled twice. My heart thumped against my ribs as I walked outside, the cold night air brushing against my face. The garage door groaned when I lifted it. Dust swirled through the air, lit by the beam of my flashlight. I hadn't stepped inside since the funeral. The smell of oil and old wood felt like him-like. He'd just stepped out for a moment and would come back any second. Something on the floor caught my eye, a floorboard slightly out of place. I knelt down slowly, my hands trembling as I pried it up. Beneath it was a small wooden box, covered in dust, almost forgotten by time. Inside were things that carried the weight of a man's final thoughts, a handwritten letter, a USB drive, a small notebook tied with string. The letter was on top. I unfolded it carefully. His handwriting ran down the page in gentle, deliberate strokes. If you're reading this, it means I'm no longer there to protect you. I stopped breathing. I know what our son has been doing. I know what she's been encouraging. I didn't want to burden you while I was still here, but you deserve the truth. And you deserve safety. The words blurred for a moment as my eyes stung, but I didn't cry, not yet. I hurried back inside with the box, turned on my laptop, and plugged in the USB. The screen lit my face in cold blue light. Several folders popped up instantly: documents, records, names, dates, and then a video file. My fingertips hovered over the trackpad. I clicked. There he was. My husband, sitting at his workbench in the garage. His face looked tired, but prepared. He spoke slowly, his voice steady. He explained everything: financial records, conversations he overheard, actions our son took behind my back, and the role my daughter-in-law played in all of it. And then he said the words that cracked something deep inside me. Please be strong. They won't protect you. You must protect yourself now. The screen glow flickered across my face as his message ended. I stared at the laptop long after the video faded to black. Then, with a calm I didn't recognize, I closed the laptop lid. The soft click echoed in the room, louder than the storm inside me. My husband had trusted me with the truth, and now I knew exactly what I needed to do. I stood up, straightened my shoulders, and took the first step toward reclaiming everything I had almost lost. If you want to hear the rest of this story, how I confronted the truth, how I fought back, and how everything changed, make sure to subscribe HT Everyday Family Stories. Full story continues on the channel. Link in the description.